So welcome, Debbie, to PQA Reading. Thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to just introduce yourself a bit and tell us what it is that you do?
Yeah, I'm Debbie Isitt. I am a writer and director for film and for television and for theatre. I'm best known, I think, for creating, writing and directing the Nativity films and all the songs that go in them as well. And Nativity, the musical, which is a big stage show that's been touring the last 3 years. So yeah, I'm Mrs. Christmas, really.
So I think question to kick off with is from Chloe, who's one of our red groups. So that's our oldest group. She's 17. So let's take a little look.
Hi Debbie, I'd like to ask, what advice would you give somebody filming an audition tape? Thank you.
I think you should try and look as close to the character you're playing as possible without going really over the top or being daft about it. Mm-hmm. If you're meant to be playing a really mousy, shy character, don't do a self-tape, obviously, in your bright red power suit. You know, try and dress like the character. That's the first thing, because film and television is a visual medium, and we get all our messages from what we see. So think visually, try and obviously then inhabit the character, try and become the character, and remember to have a nice, clean, simple background, so we're not distracted from you, and make sure that you look, probably, if you're not asked to look direct to camera, probably just off camera. Make sure we can see most of your face, you know, no hair over your eyes or anything like that. And most importantly, remember the camera can read your mind. So if you're doing your audition, but you're actually thinking, I'm not sure this is going very well, we'll read that. The camera never lies. So make sure you're in the moment, in character, and just enjoy it. I mean, what you're really looking for are people that want to be there, are happy in their own skin, being themselves and enjoying themselves, are free and uninhibited. You know, I'm not interested in people that are very stressed or tense, or people that don't want to be there, that clown around or distract everybody by chatting. You're there to work, so you do have to concentrate, but at the same time, you have to have a playfulness about the work. You know, so I'm looking for energy, commitment, people that you know, light up the screen and make me want to film them more, you know, because they're giving me something. So it's all about what you're giving the director, what you're giving the camera. So you've got to be, you know, firing on all 4 cylinders, really concentrating, but also enjoying it and being prepared to take a risk and play and try something new. Not be too inhibited, not be too distracted. Just be, take it seriously, but have fun at the same time. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it is possible to do both of those things at once. I think the interesting thing is that the children that I work with are much better at it than the adults a lot of the time. Improvisation with children feels very natural. I think often children don't like learning lines. They don't like delivering somebody else's words, if you like. They find it quite challenging. And I think what I ask them to do really is be themselves in a different situation, and come up with their own ideas and their own words. I can then tweak them, but we don't work with paper. I mean, nobody ever reads a script, nobody ever has to learn anything. It's all done through verbal communication, and that works really well, I find, with children. They really respond to it and enjoy it because they don't know what's coming next. I mean, the children in my films never know what the next scene is. They never know what's going to happen in the end. And not just the children, the adults too. I mean, nobody knows how my films are going to end except me. So we all go on this journey together, and it's really exciting. And children love it because children have a brilliant, you know, imagination, and they can get very excited about what might happen. And they come up to me and say, what's going to happen next, Debbie? You know, is Mr. Poppy going to do this? And I go, look, we'll wait and see, and we'll just find out tomorrow when we all come back and start filming. So it's a really nice process. It's very different, but it's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I think you know, I kind of believe that if you're in those clubs when you're young, you know, you know it's in your blood. If you enjoy it, you sort of feel like you're born to do it. And I feel like I've been doing it all my life, as you say. And when I was 9, directing my friends and my cousins into that play at primary school, and then on a Sunday night, always gathering my cousins together to perform a show for the parents. You know, I was constantly directing, really. I didn't know that's what it was. I was just trying to have fun and make something happen, but I was always trying to do it in front of an audience. I suppose, like most performers at that time, you know, I really loved the applause, you know, so we were always trying to make things better, you know, and hated it if somebody criticized the thing we were doing, even if we were just pretending to be ABBA or whatever it was. We wanted it to be the best, you know. And then at school, I did school plays, and I was part of a dance troupe, and all of these things that are deemed to be, you know, children's work or amateur theatre or whatever are really vitally important. It's how you learn to work in a group. It's how you learn what it is you enjoy doing, you know, what you're best at, where your talents really lie. This is where you discover yourself, really. And that then should help inform and tell you exactly where you want to go next, you know. So I knew I wanted to go to study the whole of performing arts because I loved it all. I loved singing, I loved dancing, I loved acting. So I knew I wanted to do that then. So it helps you decide what area you want to pursue. Yeah, I mean, I suppose for me as a child, and even when I was training as an actor, and I thought film was out of my reach, really. I didn't think it was realistic for me. But I've obviously learned since that it's very achievable if it's what you want to do. To work in television is completely achievable. You just have to be very determined about it. So for me, theatre was my choice, and I thought I'd be doing that all my life, and I did it for a lot of time, a lot of years. And then when I tried to move into film, at first it was a bit daunting, not because I found it daunting, but I think other people do have this idea that you can't do both, or you have to choose. But actually you don't. And the more disciplines you have, you know, the better it is for you, really. Because at the end of the day, you know, whether you're an actor, a writer, a director, you know, creating costumes, sets, you're all part of telling a story. And how you're telling that story, what medium it is in, is pretty irrelevant in the end. It's all about what's the story, how good can we tell the story, who's the story for. These things are completely universal, and it doesn't matter whether it's film or television or a musical. It's all the same thing. So I encourage you not to necessarily make a hard and fast decision of I only want to act on film, or I only want to act on stage. I think you have to be open. I think what you want to say to yourself if you want to be an actor is I want to be the best actor I can be, and try lots of different ways of being that. I've had a couple of times where that's happened. Once, because the director they'd worked with before, and they knew who they were, and I was new to them. And so although the script was mine, you know, they didn't know me as a director, so they went with the other person. And I found that very challenging, because I do see myself as a writer and director, and I was very jealous of the other person directing my script, and I wasn't always happy. I didn't like the way they cast it. I didn't like lots of things about it. But actually, in the end, it got me one of the highlights of my careers, because I won a big award for it as a writer. So I won a BAFTA. And I was like, wow, you know, I shouldn't have complained, because look what happened, you know. So sometimes, you know, it's all right to let go. Anyway, I had no choice. I just did. But a good thing came out of it, actually. So it's not always the right thing to be controlling. But on the other hand, when a big Hollywood studio asked if they could come and do a remake of Nativity for America, and they said, we don't want you, you know, we want an American director, that was too far for me. And I said, no, I don't want that to happen. This is my baby, and I don't want to see that happen. So, you know, both sides of the coin, really. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. I think you learn yourself what you're prepared to accept, you know, and what you're not. But I love the idea of making your own, you know, making your own films, or pitching your own ideas, or writing your own stuff as soon as you can, because even if you decide it's not for you, at least you've tried it. And if it is for you, how fantastic to find your voice so young. You know, it's really, really, there's no training like just doing it, you know.
So a slightly lighter question, I think. I quite like this one though. So this is from Tilly. She's 9 years old and she's in our green group. So let's take a little look what she has to say.
Hi Debbie, I'm Tilly from PQA Reading, and I love all of the nativity films. They're one of my favourite movie series. And I would really like to know, is Mr. Poppy as bonkers and funny than he is on camera when he's off of it?
Yep. He's a handful. You know, Mark, Mr. Poppy are both like big overgrown puppy dogs. You know, I mean, you love puppies because they're all so excitable, and you know, or sometimes I call him Tigger, you know, because he's so bouncy up and downy all the time, lots of energy. But that's what makes him such fun to work with and such fun to watch. You know, he's got boundless energy. Yes, he is bonkers. It's a great word.
We do have a question from Mark, who's age 10, and he's in our blue group, so that's the middle age band. So let's take a little look. I like this one.
Was it hard directing a donkey in the nativity?
Yeah, I mean, animals are just a law unto themselves. And what makes you laugh is that you go to find your animals from film animal companies. You know, there are these companies that have animals especially for film and television that are meant to be really professional, really well trained. But when they turn up on set, you realize they're just animals, and you can't train the donkey. Not really. You can handle the donkey, but you can't actually train it. It's not a dog, you know, and even the dogs are often very badly behaved in my films as well. But what's been kind of really interesting is saying, you know, listen, is the donkey all right because I want this 7-year-old little boy to run it down the corridor, you know, and it's a health and safety issue, making sure that the donkey is going to be happy enough for the little boy to do that without getting hurt. But the children tend to love the animals, and to be honest, the animals tend to love the children. Although you may know this story, but Pam Ferris, who plays Mrs. Bevan in the first nativity film, she got bit on the foot by one of the pigs during the scene where the animals come into school. So that was a bit of a horror, because Mrs. Bevan getting bit by a pig was not funny. But it was funny, but it wasn't funny, but it was funny.
And probably the most important question so far. So you need to give some thought to this one. This is also from Mark. It's what's your favourite cake?
Oh my goodness, that's so important. My favourite cake. I think probably it's got to be chocolate cake. Just really plain and simple, not plain chocolate, milk chocolate. Milk chocolate cake with some lovely chocolate icing.
No, fair play, yeah. To be honest, I personally would eat anything. And I have during lockdown, so I probably need to slow down. It's good we were able to get back on set and into academy. It came at just the right time. So that's actually all our questions. So thank you very much for speaking with us. I know the kids greatly appreciated it, and you answering their questions. Of course, they're all big fans, especially the younger ones, of nativity. I have so many nativity questions I had to sift through. So I like to think I picked the best two. But no, thank you very much, and best of luck with your projects.
It's a pleasure, and good luck all of you.